You're listening to Awards Magnet, a Gold Derby podcast hosted by Joyce and Christopher Rosen. Welcome back to Awards Magnet. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce. Joyce, we have a big show coming up later. Jordan Hoffman will be here.
Wow, I can't believe you spoiled it right in the beginning if no one read the title.
It's not spoiling. We have to promote what's coming up. So later in the show.
He's our first guest ever.
Wow. Jordan is going to be here to talk about the New York Film Critics Circle, Joyce, and what went on inside. Very exciting.
Hypothetically speaking, what went on inside. Yeah.
A lot of hypothetically speaking events happened at the New York Film Critics Circle Awards last week. But no, today, Joyce, we're going to talk first. Our first Golden Globe predictions, we're going to speed round these.
Yeah, because they're in less than a month. So this is really the only time we can talk about them before we do them again.
Correct. So the Golden Globe nominations were earlier this week. I'm sure people loved hearing us chat about them, Joyce. But we're going to go first with TV and then film. Okay?
I think we're going to have 98% of the same TV ones.
I tried to be a little different here to start just because. But we'll start with drama series, Joyce. Again, to recap, the nominees were Shogun, Slow Horses, The Diplomat, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Squid Game, and The Day of the Jackal, and I have Shogun winning.
Yes, I think everyone will have Shogun winning.
Nothing to say. It won the Emmy, and I expect it to win at the Golden Globes.
It won 18 Emmys.
So,
what do you have in second?
I have Slow Horses in second.
I have Day of the Jackal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So that maybe gets us to drama actor. I wonder if you did the same thing then. The nominees are Hiroyuki Sanada, Gary Oldman, Eddie Redmayne, Jake Gyllenhaal, Donald Glover, and Billy Bob Thornton for my parents' favorite show, Landman, Joyce. They're big Landman fans.
Oh, they've been watching?
Yeah, they love it. Anyway, I have Eddie Redmayne winning this for Day of the Jackal.
I do not. I have Hero. I have Eddie in second. We talked about this when we did our predictions. Eddie feels like an HFPA pick for the win.
So he does. That's true. But again, we heard that even the new Golden Globes Foundation was also very hot on Day of the Jackal.
Yes, but again, I think that would benefit the show and him more if it were still just 80 people voting and not 300 something.
True. And we know that the only reason I was this is stupid, besides it being stupid, is that I'm I don't, we've talked about, I don't know how much they're thinking about the TV awards. And I think they're just going to
No, I think it's half of the membership is voting.
And I think they're just going to be well, I watched Shogun. So obviously, Hiroyuki Sanada's going to win.
I'm assuming more people will vote for the winners because it's easier to just pick one of the TV winners if they abstain from voting for the nominees for TV, because you have to pick more, obviously. But it's easier if you've seen the show and it's oh, I enjoy that.
I don't disagree, but I guess I would say if more people are voting than two, I think that shows that people everyone knows Shogun and watch Shogun. So that makes maybe I should just switch to Hiroyuki. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah,
for our final
you're
picks.
basically arguing for Hero then.
For our final picks, maybe I'll do that. But for now, I'll keep Eddie Redmayne in first. Drama actress choice. I did no such tomfoolery. The nominees are Anna Sawai, Carrie Russell, Kathy Bates, Maya Erskine, Keira Knightley, and Emma Darcy. And I have Anna Sawai winning.
Same. I have Kathy in second.
I have Keira Knightley in second for Slow Doves.
Wow. I have Keira in third for Slow Doves.
Interesting. I have Kathy in third. Comedy series choice. This is great. I feel like we're right on the same page as a lot of these, even though I have Eddie. Comedy series. Again, the nominees were Hacks, Nobody Wants This, The Bear, Only Murders, Abbott Elementary, and The Gentleman. And I have Hacks winning.
Obviously.
As you're fine to say, Hacks already won a Golden Globe for comedy series.
Yeah, and we just never got to see it because that was when the ceremony was not televised. It was the Twitter ceremony.
Music is the best medicine?
Yeah.
Got it.
I still have those screen grabs, don't worry.
I have The Bear in second. People, it seems like in aggregate, have Nobody Wants This in second. I still think they like The Bear.
I have Nobody Wants This in second. I have The Bear in third. I don't think necessarily that The Bear getting 5 nominations means they're still in love with it. I think that's just the biggest show of this bunch of the comedies,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, what we were saying with like the laziness and the maybe even like some apathy, it's like just kind of checking off the Bear and its contenders. And yeah, it got 5 nominations, but if you think about it, no other show in all their genres could really match that haul or eclipse it, because the Bear has contenders in every acting category. Like you would, like these other shows, they would need to double up somewhere, or like I should say that Bear has strong contenders in all the acting categories. So it's very easy for them to get 5 nominations. Like last year, it got 5, and Only Murders also got 5 because it had Meryl, who was actually supporting last year. And Succession got 9 because it's a huge show.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think like it having the most nominations is like indicative of them still loving the show. And like, yeah, like maybe it could win, but like the Globes have shown like they don't, even like the HFPA, like they don't like necessarily rubber stamp shows and give them to the same people over and over again. Like it's so rare for them to do a three-peat.
Mm-hmm. Well, that maybe is why I have a different winner here in comedy actor. The nominees are Adam Brody for Nobody Wants This, Jeremy Allen White for The Bear, Ted Danson for Man on the Inside, Martin Short, Steve Martin for Only Murders, and Jason Segel for Shrinking. I have Adam Brody winning. Joyce, our fave.
I have him too. I don't know. I have Ted in second. Yeah.
I have Ted in third and Jeremy Allen White in second. I feel like if Brandon Alvarez was here, we would have predicted him. But because he wasn't.
I would have. I would have definitely predicted him if it were still the HFPA.
Yeah. I don't know. Adam Brody, they love that. They like that show too. And like we said, it's a mass hit. And if this is a membership that is not as hot on TV as film, they've definitely watched The Bear, and they've definitely watched Nobody Wants This, and they've already awarded Jeremy for The Bear. So maybe he doesn't win again. That was my take, basically.
Yeah. And I would think like, even if they don't hate season 3 of The Bear as much as like a lot of fans do, like they're probably still softer on it than they were with season 2. So,
yes.
Like I don't think a lot of them would say season 3 is better than season 2.
I think that's right. For comedy actress, Joyce, I think we probably have the same winner. The nominees are Jean Smart, Kristen Bell, Io Debris, Quinta Brunson, Selena Gomez, and Katherine Hahn. I have Jean Smart winning.
Another one, she won for the first season, but again, we didn't see it.
So now we'll get to see her speech. Can't wait. Limited series, Joyce. The nominees are Baby Reindeer, The Penguin, Disclaimer, Ripley, True Detective, Night Country, and Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. And I'm going to have Baby Reindeer winning this.
Same.
A lot of the stuff we've just said about Hacks and Shogun, I think applies to why Baby Reindeer will win. I have The Penguin in second. What do you think?
I do too.
I could see it winning. Like if they vote something different, I could see it winning, but I don't know why they would. Basically, I have no reason to expect them to. Frankly.
No, I mean the Penguin was a moderate success, but nothing as wide-reaching and explosive as Baby Reindeer.
And at least to tease 2 minutes from now, I have The Penguin showing up elsewhere, but not here in TV limited series movie actor. Where the nominees are Richard Gadd, Colin Farrell for The Penguin, Andrew Scott, Cooper Koch for Monsters, Kevin Kline for Disclaimer, and Ewan McGregor for my fave, A Gentleman in Moscow. Joyce, am I in the Golden Globes Foundation?
And Critics' Choice?
I feel like I might be. Did somebody not forget to tell me?
So you're clearly voting for him to win, right?
No, I have Richard Gadd winning.
But that's your prediction. That's not your vote.
No, my vote would be for Ewan McGregor,
yeah,
of course.
Yeah, obviously.
Number 1 in my heart, but last in my predictions is I have Richard Gadd winning.
Because you're not hope dicting him, see?
No.
Yeah, it should be Richard. So, like, not should, like, he should be winning, but, like, I would be surprised if it's not Richard.
It just seems like they have no reason not to predict. There's no reason not to predict him, I guess, really.
Yes.
For limited series movie actress, the nominees are Jodie Foster, Krista Milioti, Cate Blanchett, Sofia Vergara, Naomi Watts, and Kate Winslet for The Regime.
What was that accent there on Winslet?
I don't know. I have Krista Milioti winning this for The Penguin.
I have Jodie because I can see them just being lazy. And I can see Kristen winning. That's probably the closer race here. Of these. Well, I guess like supporting actor is, I would say that's not close. That's just more up in the air. But I think like this is.
I could obviously make the case for Jodie, right? Like she won a Golden Globe, obviously, and like she won an Emmy. But I think Kristen is going to be like the winter season fave. And I think she'll also win at SAG in this category, probably. So I'm just like, I kind of think of all the things about the Penguin, that was the standout. Her performance and character was the thing that made people really excited about that show more than anything else. So I think that'll push her over the top here. But I guess we'll see. They could just easily rubber stamp Jodie, who won at the Emmys, and they love. You mentioned supporting actor, Joyce. This is all shows, all genres. The nominees are Ebon Moss-Bachrach, Tatenobu Asano, Jack Lowden, Javier Bardem, Harrison Ford, and Diego Luna. And I have Ebon Moss-Bachrach for The Bear.
I do too.
What's your reasoning?
Just like we've talked about before, I think this is an open category, and it's still the biggest show here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they're necessarily thinking about like what we talked about the other day, that he hasn't won this yet because he lost this last year to Matthew McFadden. But I think it's just kind of like he's a popular character on the biggest show in this category. And you know, whatever issues too, I don't think they're thinking deeply about this, but whatever issues you have with The Bear season 3, like Richie is mostly innocent. So
I could understand what you're saying about they're not thinking that he hasn't won. Like we said previously, though, if he had won, I'd be less actually inclined to predict him, because I don't think like they're not going to like rubber stamp Jeremy, basically. You know what I mean? Like again. But I was like, oh, I think he hasn't won. I think that is another reason why I'm expecting him to win, I guess, because they're not going to like, they don't need to like be like, oh, he already won this, so we don't need to.
I think like it's different with Jeremy because he's won twice before.
Right. No, I know.
You know. So.
I have Tatenobu Asano in second.
I have Jack in second.
And then for TV supporting actress choice, I want to see what you did here. The nominees are Jessica Gunning, Hannah Einbinder, Liza Colon-Zayas, Emmy winner, Allison Janney, Callie Reese, and Dakota Fanning. And I have Jessica Gunning winning for Baby Reindeer.
Same.
I have Hannah Einbinder in second.
Yes.
Do you think Hannah could win this?
She can, but I think Jess has more going for her. Hannah would win if they still had those split categories that they had for 1 year.
Definitely. And I think I could make the case Hannah wins this too, but I just think like we're saying, like Baby Reindeer is the biggest show of that group, right? Like, I mean, no disrespect to Hacks or The Bear. I think Baby Reindeer was a phenomenon, so it feels like there's no reason for her not to win, especially with everyone voting.
And not that no disrespect to Nava Mal, but she didn't make this category, but I don't think she would have, just like at the Emmys, I don't think she would have siphoned a lot of votes from Jess either. But now like Jess is here all by herself.
Mm-hmm.
For Baby Reindeer.
And then finally, Joyce, TV stand-up comedy performance, your favorite genre and category.
But my favorite's not going to win.
So the nominees are Nikki Glaser, Someday You'll Die. Like we said, I love the SEO optimized stand-up comedy special titles. So Nikki Glaser, Someday You'll Die, Jamie Foxx, What Happened Was, Adam Sandler, Love You, Seth Meyers, Dad Man Walking, Ali Wong, Single Lady, and Rami Youssef, More Feelings. And Nikki Glaser's first in the odds in hosting the show, and it seems like the fix is in, but I'm going to have Jamie Foxx winning for What Had Happened Was.
I have Jamie in first, too. I have Nikki in second.
I have Nikki in second. If she won, seems totally fine. A great special. She's also hilarious. I'm sure she'll do a great job hosting the show. And so that would be cool. But I'm also like, I just think the Jamie Foxx special is probably too big. You know what I mean? Like it's already making like several headlines. It's just too big. It's definitely like the most,
because it's like out. So
it's out now. It's like a big headline making thing because of what he's talking about. And like, I just think the recency bias will help that a little bit too.
Yeah, that, like I said the other day, like last year I picked Ricky.
Yes.
Because his special aired over Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
And also because, it's like Ricky and the Globes.
Correct. But now to film, Joyce. the real ones can check out as everyone else stays for film. Film drama, where The Brutalist led all film dramas with 7 nominations. The nominees once again were The Brutalist, Conclave, A Complete Unknown, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, and September 5. And I have The Brutalist winning.
Same.
Conclave is second in the odds. I have it in second as well. Based on this group and their highbrow tastes, I do think The Brutalist should pretty easily win this category. I think if it was the HFPA, Conclave would win, but it's not. I
think The Brutalist did exactly what it needed to do here. Like, it maxed out on all its nominations. So, and they seem to have liked it. So it ought to be winning this by all means when you look at the field. So. For drama actress, Joyce, this is a great category. A lot of great, several Oscar winners here. Angelina Jolie for Maria, Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl, Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here, Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl, who I spoke to on Monday, Joyce, after her nomination. Lovely. She was great. Tilda Swinton for The Room Next Door, and Kate Winslet for Lee. And while you might think I'd be predicting Pamela Anderson, as I spoke to her about her nomination, I'm not. I'm actually predicting Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. Wow. Do you have her in at the Oscars?
No. I don't have her in at the Oscars. I will wait to see how she does at BAFTA, and I think I will wait to see if I bring her in for there. But I do think she could win this because I think it's maybe the strongest movie here. So that was what I went with.
I have Nicole. I have Fernanda in second.
I have Nicole in second. If Nicole won, it would make total sense, right? Like, obviously, we've talked about this, I think, even before the nominations, that a lot of people, and it's reflected in the odds, will have Angelina Jolie here, kind of rubber stamped. And it's very possible she wins, and that's fine. Nicole felt like the sharper pick, maybe, right? Like, just in terms of the performance and this group now. But I think Fernanda is the sharper pick, so I was trying to find a new edge. So that's what I went with her.
I mean, she and Pam are the only people whose film has another nomination. And Fernanda's is, no shade to song, but Fernanda's film, I'm Still Here, is up for international.
Correct.
So, yes, and obviously it's an international body. Brazilians here out in full force for the film. I'm also like Baby Girl is not out yet. Obviously, it's out on Christmas, and I'm kind of like hedging on I'm waiting to see the reaction and reception to that and how it plays over that last week of the year when voting is going on too for it. Like, will they be swayed by how it's received?
I guess it totally makes sense. The reason I went, again, I just think this group, especially with the film, is very highbrow and has really good taste, I would argue, right? It seems, right? Or at least critical taste, right? They're more...
It's like a critics group now.
It's a real critics group. And I think pound for pound, Fernanda Torres probably, especially without Marianne Jean-Baptiste here, who I would have probably predicted to win if she was here. So I was like, I'm going to predict Fernanda Torres. I think she could take it. I have Angelina in third and Pam Anderson, my fave, in fourth.
I put Kate in third.
Wow. Love a campaign. For drama actor, Joyce, the nominees are Adrian Brody for The Brutalist, Ralph Fiennes for Conclave, Timothée Chalamet for A Complete Unknown, Coleman Domingo for Sing Sing, Sebastian Stan, our fave, for The Apprentice, and Daniel Craig for Queer. And I have Adrian Brody winning for The Brutalist.
Yes.
We've already said Kieran Culkin feels like a sweeper, right? Like a burgeoning Da'Vine Joy Randolph kind of type sweeper. I feel like Adrian Brody is going to end up just being underestimated a lot for the next few months, and similarly Cillian Murphy just keep winning and then win. That's my take. I don't know. I think people are looking for an excuse not to predict him to win, and then he's just going to win.
Yeah. I mean, we've had that for months already, because I think some people still believe that he can't win because he's already won before the Oscar. I'm saying because he hasn't won a Globe, and I think I think the difference between him and Cillian is that he's vulnerable at SAG. I don't think Cillian was ever vulnerable at SAG, because
of the size of the movie.
Yeah. And like, you know, The Brutalist is not Oppie. So, but like, I think if he wins BAFTA, like if he wins everything but SAG, so it'll be like Casey Affleck, you know, because who won everything but SAG, and then he goes on to win the Oscar. I have Timmy in second here. You know, A Complete Unknown did well here at the Globes. This is another one where it's like it's coming out on Christmas, so it's like wait and see how it plays with the GP too. And also like box office is not very important, but like somewhat important here because it's not obviously not going to be like a Wicked style kind of smash, but
right.
Yeah, and then I put Sep in third.
Wow, I have Rafe in third. That's great. Love to see it.
Rafe just feels like nominated everywhere but not winning. No offense to Rafe.
I think Rafe is like Paul Giamatti minus the critics' embrace.
And minus the Globe win because he's in the same category.
Yes. You know what I mean, though? It's like that same, it's giving that same vibe where it's like happy to be here. We love this guy, but he's not winning. For comedy musical, Joyce, where Amelia Perez set a record with 10 nominations for a film comedy musical. The nominees are Nora, Wicked, Amelia Perez, A Real Pain, The Substance, and Challengers. And I have Amelia Perez winning.
I have Nora.
I have Nora in second.
Wow. Your fave.
Amelia Perez is third in the odds. I am like, not to go too conspiracy, Chris, but I absolutely believe that's because the online, nobody likes this movie online. And then in the real world, people are much more embracing it, including the Golden Globes, where it was nominated 10 times. And even if you take out those 2 song nominations, it's still got 8 nominations that are like major nominations. So I think it could easily win here. I think people will be really upset when it wins here. But I think it has a better shot with this group than Nora. I guess we'll see.
I mean, I think Nora, I like maxed out as well. Like there was no way it was going to get 10 nominations, you know, like, so it like The Brutalist did what it needed to do. Amelia Perez to me is kind of giving Barbie, here last year, which also led nominations with 9, obviously inflated by song and box office achievement, which it won. And was it number 1 in the odds by the time the ceremony? Because I think it was number 1 and Poor Things was second for a comedy musical film. I think it was number 1. But, you know, like them going with Poor Things, which I think we both predicted them going with Poor Things. Like,
I think we did too.
Yeah. And I mean, I know I did. I don't know about you, but it like I'm just kind of going off of that as well. And like we were saying before with like TV and the Bears nominations, like having the most nominations, and even just last year with Barbie, it had the most nominations. It doesn't mean you're going to win the most awards either.
Totally true.
Or the top award.
I guess my counterpoint with that would be that Amelia Perez is not at all like Barbie in terms of its like Wicked is Barbie to me, even though it didn't get you know what I mean? Like it's like
Wicked is Barbie in terms of like the tone, but right. I think like we were saying with how this group is more like a critics group now. I think Nora is like the happy medium between them.
Well, I guess we'll do this next. I have Mikey winning actress because I think that's where Nora will surface, but I think picture Amelia Perez, especially because it plays better with international audiences, it seems. And certainly international critics maybe are more embracing of it than American critics have been. Anyway, for comedy musical actress, I have Mikey Madison winning, spoiler, but the nominees were Mikey Madison, Cynthia Erivo, Carla Sofia Gascon, Demi Moore, Zendaya, and Amy Adams. And I have Mikey, and then I have Carla in second, actually.
I have Mikey, and I have Demi in second.
Nice. I have Demi in fourth, behind Cynthia. I have Cynthia in third.
I have Cynthia in third.
Mikey, congratulations on your Globe. I feel like she's going to win this, though. I think that's like pretty. It would be not detrimental if she lost, but it would be not a great sign if she lost in terms of her winning an Oscar, I guess I would say.
Yeah. She feels like she should win this. I have Demi in second because like The Substance obviously did well as well with 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because I could see it winning like 2 awards or 0. Mm-hmm. Like I could see her winning this. I could see it winning screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
or just going home empty-handed. But I think like Anora is still the stronger film here.
For musical comedy actor Joyce, nominees are Jesse Eisenberg for Real Pain, Sebastian Stan again for A Different Man, Glenn Powell for Hitman, Hugh Grant for Heretic, Gabriel LaBelle for Saturday Night, and Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness. And I have picked Jesse. I have Seb in second. That was my big thing.
Same. I would love for Seb to win, just to have some hardware for his great year. I don't know. I feel like I would be hope dicting if I did it. And Jesse is the only one here in a film that is nominated for the top award.
That was also part of the reason. Yeah, that was also part of the reason why I moved him in first.
And it's going to win another one.
For supporting actress Joyce, the nominees were Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez, Ariana Grande for Wicked, Isabella Rossellini for Conclave, Felicity Jones for The Brutalist, Selena Gomez for Amelia Perez, and Margaret Qualley for The Substance. And I have Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez.
I have Zoe too. I have Ariana in second. Like we were saying before about Amelia being popular with them, and also internationally as well. I think she can sneak this out, and maybe even just sweep the rest of the season. Who knows? I mean, I have Ariana winning SAG, but I think Zoe can still win here.
I totally agree. I mean, they loved her. They liked the movie, and if it was the HFPA, I think Ariana would win, but it's not. And so now we're living in this new world, and I think Zoe will win, much to the consternation of the Ariana Stan army online. What are the stands called, Joyce?
Arianators?
No, I don't think that's right.
Selenators?
Supporting actor in a film, Joyce. Kieran Culkin, Guy Pearce, Denzel Washington, Yor Borzov, Jeremy Strong, and Edward Norton. And I have Kieran Culkin winning.
Are they going to do this first?
Yes. I have Guy Pearce in second.
But then you blow the best speech of the night first.
Or you start on a high. I have Guy Pearce in second.
Same.
Okay. And I have Yor Borzov in third.
Same. I have Jeremy in fourth.
Nice. I have Denzel in last. So they're just a different group. It's a different Hollywood Foreign Press. Or it's not even the Hollywood Foreign Press. So
it's not.
There you go.
It's not.
It's the Golden Globes Foundation.
Yes.
Best Director Joyce. Nominees were Brady Corbet for The Brutalist, Sean Baker for Anora, Edward Berger for Conclave, Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez, Coralie Farge for The Substance, and Payal Kapadia for All We Imagine as Light. And I have Brady Corbet winning for The Brutalist.
I do too.
I have Coralie Farge in second.
Wow, I don't have her there in second. I mean, I don't really have her there in second anywhere else, but I think I think she has a better chance of winning another category.
That's fair. But I think Brady should win this. Sean Baker, obviously, very. I talked to Edward Berger after the Globe nominations. Joyce, lovely guy. He was just coming through customs.
Oh wow, he called you from the airport?
I guess so. And he was saying how he loved how auteur. This is a lot of auteurs in this category with him, and how everyone had a real singular vision this year. And I think I found interesting. And he specifically singled out Coralie Farge as someone he texted. And he also said Sean Baker. And he was like, if I had everybody else's phone number, I would have texted them too. So anyway.
Maybe he started a group chat by now.
Maybe. For screenplay, Joyce, nominees are Nora, Conclave, Real Pain, Brutalist, Substance, and Amelia Perez. And I have Nora winning.
I do too. I can see The Substance winning here, even though I put it in fifth here. But I think it's a very competitive category because they only have one screenplay category.
This is how competitive it is. And you're going to laugh. I have a Real Pain in last, but I actually think all of these could win. I mean, I have like Nora, The Substance, Conclave, Amelia Perez, The Brutalist, and a Real Pain. But I think there's a world where any of these are first or any of these are last. I think Nora has the edge because, like you said, it's a highbrow group, and Nora is like pretty consensus among critics this year. So,
yeah. I mean, remember last year they gave this to Anatomy of a Fall, and that really just kicked off its original screenplay run.
Correct.
So that was a great win. So that was like that was like one of the few upsets last year, that and Boy and the Heron winning animated. You know, I think like Boy and the Heron winning is like less of a surprise or whatever than Anatomy of a Fall, which was dead last in the odds.
Correct.
So
that's what I'm thinking too. If A Real Pain won this, an Avid last, or Substance, which is buried at the bottom, I would not be surprised, I guess.
Yeah.
Animated feature. The nominees were One Wild Robot, Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, and Moana 2. And I have Wild Robot.
One Wild Robot.
I have One Wild Robot.
I do too. I have Flow in second. I can see Flow winning. Flow's been doing really well with critics. So
I could definitely see Flow winning, and I think you can make the case, like you were saying, like, oh, if Boy and the Heron was like the critic fave, and then like Spider-Verse was like the audience fave. I guess the difference to me with this race in general in animation this year is that Wild Robot, I think, was way more widely embraced than Spider-Verse in terms of like its critical you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like,
I think Inside Out 2 is the Spider-Verse.
I think that could be true too. And I guess Flow, I don't think is as high as Boy and the Heron. So I don't know. I think Wild Robot like scratches a critical itch and an audience itch. And there you go. But if Flow won, I guess I wouldn't be surprised. Last few here, Joyce. Best film in a non-English language. The nominees are Amelia Perez, All We Imagine Is Light, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, I'm Still Here, Vermiglio, and The Girl with the Needle. And I have Amelia Perez winning.
I put that in first too. I thought about putting All We Imagine Is Light here too. I could see that winning, especially with Payal being nominated in director.
I thought that too, and I have a winning comedy musical, and I still think it could not win this somehow. But I have All We Imagine Is Light in second, and I'm Still Here in third.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, yeah, I mean, like, I don't have Amelia winning comedy musical, so this could be like its other big win here. Like, I can see it winning this and Zoe, and I don't know, maybe like a song win.
Maybe. I guess I was thinking too. Like, does it need to? Like, would you say it needs to win this if it's going to like? Like, if it wins this, it doesn't need to win comedy musical, obviously. But if it didn't win this, could it still win comedy musical?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think they're related.
Okay. I didn't think so either. I have it winning both, but I could definitely see All We Imagine Is Light winning. For Best Score, Joyce, the nominees were Conclave, Brutalist, Challengers, Wild Robot, Dune Part 2, and Amelia Perez. And I have The Brutalist winning.
I do too. I have Conclave in second. I could see Conclave winning.
I have Challengers in second, and I have Conclave in third. All would be deserving winners. These are great scores down the line. Love Conclave. Love Volker Bertelmann. They really like Challengers, though, and they specifically like the music. So I was like, what if they're just like into Challengers as a runner-up choice here? But I think the Brutalist score is going to really pop and start popping at these places.
Like, even just hearing it in their trailers.
It's always a flex when you're in the trailer and you do the music from the movie in the trailer. You don't even have to find temp music. You just do trailer, the real music. I love that.
And it's just so majestic when you hear it.
It's great. For Song, Joyce, the nominees are Wild Robot, Kiss the Sky, Amelia Perez, El Mal, Amelia Perez, Mi Camino, The Last Showgirl, Beautiful That Way, Better Man, Forbidden Road, and Challengers, Compress, Repress. And I have Kiss the Sky from One Wild Robot winning, but I have Beautiful That Way from Last Showgirl in second, and I really think it could actually win. That was my take here. So
I have Kiss the Sky. I put the Amelia songs back to back because I'm like, I don't like, they're both here, and like there's like neither of them have, you know, broken out as like the consensus choice either. It's not like a Barbie situation, you know? So, but I don't know.
As we've talked about, they're not the most popular song or the most listenable songs, right? Like outside of the movie. And I guess I'm trying to, if they're voting for El Mal because it's the best scene in the movie, then I could see it winning. I think Beautiful That Way is a fantastic song. They clearly watched and liked Last Showgirl, right? Obviously, it got this nomination and Pam Anderson. A lot of people predicted Pamela Anderson would get nominated. Beautiful That Way was not like widely predicted, I would say, to get a nomination. So the fact that they liked the song enough to nominate it, it's a great song. I could see it winning this. I really could. I think it could be like an upset, especially if they're not super passionate about Kiss the Sky. The Amelia Price songs cancel each other out. And like Last Showgirl, I'd probably give the edge to over Forbidden Road from Better Man. So
wow, how dare you? Rude to Robbie Williams.
And the final one we're going to predict, Joyce, before we get to our interview with Jordan Hoffman. Cinematic and box office achievement. The nominees were Wicked, Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2, Gladiator 2, The Wild Robot, Beetlejuice, Alien Romulus, and Twisters. And I have Wicked winning.
Yes, the Barbie Award.
And I get the sense, so like the Dune Part 2 was quote unquote snubbed in this category because they didn't actually submit it though.
Yes.
And one of the reasons they said for not submitting it, at least in like source reporting, Joyce, was exclusive source reporting was that they didn't want to like basically ghettoize the movie as the box office winner, right? They want to take it more seriously. Like, oh, it's going to be, we're up for real awards, not just this one.
And it got 2 nominations.
And last year we saw this with Barbie, where they won, Poor Things won comedy musical, and Barbie won this award. And it was like, you're up for this award, it feels like an easy...
It's like a consolation prize.
Easy consolation prize. And I wonder if Wicked wins this and loses comedy musical, which we're both predicting, just different movies. So I think Wicked will have a lot of people predicting it will win comedy musical.
Yes.
So we're against the grain on that, even if we have different choices. We both don't think it's going to win there. I think it'll win here. And I think now we're going to see a pattern where maybe next year, if there's like, a huge box office hit that's also an awards favorite, they're not going to submit it to this category. That would be my suggestion. That would be my guess for how this plays out next year.
Yeah. It will be curious to see like how, like if more films do that going forward, not submit to this category.
I especially as we've seen, the Academy is super populist now, and they are not afraid of these blockbuster movies in terms of like nominating them, although they haven't gotten them like outside of Oppenheimer, which I think is like a unicorn in some ways. They haven't given it like the wins, right? They didn't like Top Gun Maverick is not winning, but if this category existed for Top Gun Maverick, it would have won, right? Like that kind of thing. I don't know. So I guess we'll see. But Wicked, congratulations on your Cinematic and Box Office Achievement Award.
Yeah, it'll be in the headlines. It's a Golden Globe winner. So,
all right. So Joyce, now we're gonna chat with Jordan Hoffman, good pal, about the New York Film Critics Circle,
which feels like happened 3 weeks ago. The awards. It was only last week. But
it definitely did, but I think it's great and illustrative of how these critics groups work on like a larger scale. So
yes. Yeah, there's a lot of insight into what happens in the room. You find out like he's in the room where it happens, and he tells us what happens.
Hamilton, I know that reference.
And then he gives us an exclusive scoop as well.
Interesting. We'll have to listen to that, Joyce. And we'll be back on Friday with your emails. Email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. We have so many already, Joyce. The inbox is overflowing.
Well, a lot of shit has happened.
So we'll talk to you then, and stay tuned for Jordan. Joyce, I'm so excited. We're here with our first guest, Jordan Hoffman.
Our first official guest, first friend of the pod. Finally, welcome.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having me. I'm magnetized by the awards magnet, and I got to pull myself away sometimes from these heavy metals, these precious metals. Thrilled to be here.
That was good. Jordan, of course, is a top film critic in this country, I would say, or the world. Jordan, you write for Foreign Policy. That's a international outlet.
Come on,
you are international. Written for Vanity Fair, Vulture, and us at Gold Derby. Joyce.
Oh, we're so lucky to have had his voice here. Truly.
It's well, who am I to say? But I'm thrilled to be on the magnet. Love to talk about awards. I love awards. I love when they're given.
Well,
and I love
Jordan,
when they're received.
Yeah, you gave this.
And you give
this week. We're recording this on Friday.
I did
earlier this week. Jordan, the New York Film Critics Circle announced its winners. You are a former chair of the New York Film Critics Circle and a member in good standing.
That's correct. Yeah, the chair sort of rotates year by year, and I was the chair X amount of years ago. I was a reformist chair. I made a lot of changes. I'm a controversial chair. I updated the website. That was one of my big That was one of my big talking points.
That's important, though.
Yeah. We went from a GeoCities 1996 website to a more modern website.
No, you skipped Angel Fire?
Yeah, we went straight over that. The New York Film Critics Circle, for those who are listening, it is, dig this, it is the second oldest film critics group in the world. The London Film Critics Circle is a little bit older than us by like a couple years, but we are the oldest to bestow awards. The London group didn't think to give out awards until after New York did. And then the first year of the New York Film Critics Circle was 1935. So next year is our 90th year. And I've got some breaking news. This is a scoop.
Wow, exclusive.
This is an exclusive because this hasn't been announced. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm going to announce it, even though if I shouldn't. The New York Film Critics Circle, I'm going to announce it. The New York Film Critics Circle has for the past few years had a pretty cool gig with our friends at the Paris Theater in New York City, which for the people who live in New York, the Paris is a lovely jewel case theater right near Central Park, the Plaza Hotel, the old FAO Schwartz corner. Beautiful spot for tourists to come as well. And we've hosted screenings there a lot over the last few years, but we're going to be doing something next year all about our 90th anniversary, going back through the archives of movies that have won big awards with us and re-presenting them. And some of these movies are big movies that you've heard of and that, of course, won awards, but some of them are a little bit more, oh, that's good. That's a cool win. Oh, you gave that Best Supporting Actor? Wow, I haven't thought about that movie in a while. That's a neat one. So that's what we're going to be doing. This is relevant only to New Yorkers and to people who come to New York. But maybe if you're living somewhere else and you're deciding, gee, where should I go for my vacation this year? Should I go to Paris, France, or should I go to New York City and go to the Paris Theater? Maybe the answer is
you
to go
have
to
specify Paris.
Yeah.
You Paris?
You have to go to or Paris, Texas. You need to go to check this out. So that's what's going on this year with the Film Critics Circle. But we are pretty much the first major group to give an award each year. For the whole scoop of things, the whole swath of films. You know, the Gothams do happen before us, but the Gothams are very perplexing because I think, I don't really no one on this planet knows precisely what the requirements are for the Gothams, because years ago it used to be low budget movies only or independently produced movies. Now it seems to be anything goes. But we don't know. But for the New York Film Critics Circle, it's everything. It's what if it's a movie came out this year, if you could buy a ticket and see it in a theater, then it's up for grabs. So we did our thing.
Jordan, you go ahead, Joyce.
And this year's winners for 2024, Best Film, The Brutalist. Best Director, Ramel Ross for Nickel Boys. The acting categories, Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Best Actress, Marion Jean-Baptiste for Hard Truths. Supporting Actor, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain. And your cool pick of the year among the acting categories, that's what you guys are known for now, Carol Kane, Supporting Actress, Between the Temples.
That was a little bit of an unexpected, maybe she'll end up getting nominated for the Oscars, who knows? But I think our cool pick was Marion Jean-Baptiste because that's the best performance of the last 5 years. And this was a great year for female leads. And I got to say, I thought just for myself, my own personal voting, I was like, who can possibly beat Mikey Madison in Honora? And then when the lights came up after the screening of Hard Truths, I'm like, oh, that's who can beat Mikey Madison. At least for me. Mikey Madison would be great. Tied for second with some other people, but no one can touch what Marion Jean-Baptiste did. And I'll let you know, the way the voting works, and this isn't, I'm not talking out of school here, because the way we do our voting is, you can read it on our website. It's it's a little bit like Conclave. It's very, there's a lot of, there's rounds of voting, and it's done by secret ballot, and it's not just a plurality of numbers. You need to be on you need to cross a certain threshold of a percentage of ballots to be the winner. So in theory, everybody can vote, and actor A can have can have more in terms of numbers, but they're not enough ballots because we vote for 3. We vote first place, second place, third place. First place gets 3 points. Second place gets 2 points. Third place gets 1 point. So I don't want to say any real actors that were in contention. So I'm going to say, let's say, hypothetically speaking, I don't know. Let's say Leonard Nimoy was in a movie this year, because I've got a lot of Star Trek crap behind me. If Leonard Nimoy was in a movie this year, first of all, we'd say, how did he do that? Because he's been dead for a while. But let's say he was in a movie.
AI, okay.
Let's say the ghost of Leonard Nimoy was in a movie, and he was a supporting actor in a movie, and everybody loved him, but everybody put him third place. He could have the most numbers. Like, he could have 85 points. But he wasn't on enough ballots, or vice versa. You see what I'm saying? There's a math involved.
Yeah, it's like the difference between the SAG voting, which is just like you just need to appear in the most ballots to get nominated, and the Oscars voting, the provincial ballot.
So there is some math to it, and I kind of understand it. You know, we have a couple of eggheads in the room with calculators figuring it all out. But it's done kind of old school. I mean, we write it on a piece of paper, we pass a bowl around, and then somebody's got to sit there and read it all, like it's kind of like conclave. But the point I was going to make, because we were talking about Marion Jean-Baptiste, is, you know, a lot of these things, they take time to get there. For all the movies, it's like, you know, it's a bit of a battle. Sometimes it goes rounds and rounds and rounds. I mean, we've had some years where it just went on and on and on. And finally, the champion emerges. Marion Jean-Baptiste blazed through, slam dunk with this group, which won on the first ballot. And honestly, that never happens. It happens very rarely. And when it does happen, it happens in categories like it happens in animation, which is a category people are not as passionate about. That's my polite way of saying it. In my recollection, it's only happened in animation. It's happened in animation a few times. And in fact, it happened in animation this year with Flow, because Flow's good and whatever. But it's about a cat on a boat. It's very nice.
I mean, that was the first category you guys announced.
Yeah, so. Yeah. We usually do animation first because, you know. And then in the past, though, we have done for our first film 1 year, the film After Sun, just destroyed the competition. And that was the first ballot. But this year, for one of our higher tier, Marion Jean-Baptiste just destroyed the competition, which is exciting for her for like Oscars and things like that, because, you know, the movie is being released by
it's Bleecker Street
distributors. Oh, it's Bleecker. Okay, it's a very small. It's Bleecker Street. Yeah, well, you know, it's a smaller company that doesn't have as much dough to spend on special events and advertising and whatnot. But of course, it's a movie that. You know, it doesn't have that much, you know, when you cut together a trailer, it's not going to have as actually, I gotta take that back. You probably could cut together a pretty killer trailer from No Hard Truths. So, anyhow, it's a movie that, unlike, you know, some of the other ones that have been getting a lot of attention, that was a fun win. But, you know, looking at our awards with an eye toward will it win at the Oscars, quite frankly, Joyce and Chris, this is the wrong way to look at it. As far as I'm concerned, the season is done. You guys can stop. You can close up shop. I mean, it's not will. I mean,
listen. Sometimes I prefer your winners to the Oscar winners.
There you go. So. There you go. I mean, why? It's not like, you know, I personally don't go with voting saying, oh, this will help Marion Jean-Baptiste for the Oscars. Oh, this will help.
I was going to ask you that, because I think some people, like, especially you know, Oscar fans, you know, like people who follow this stuff, like they wonder how you, like, if you're voting strategically, like, are you voting with the Oscars in mind, or are you just voting for your personal faves? Because I personally believe you should not vote with the Oscars in mind, because you should make your own award show your own thing. You don't exist to predict the Oscars.
Absolutely. I concur with that sentiment, and there are others who agree with us. There are others in the group. There are 45 people in the group who most likely are thinking like, oh, not only do we give her a shot, this is going to help her boost with the Oscars. And to me, I think that's poppycock. I think we shouldn't do that. I think we should be egotistical enough to feel that our awards are the only awards that matter, and everything after that is just who cares. But what can I say? Not everyone agrees with me.
So were there any other besides Best Actress and Marianne? Were there any other like near blowouts? Like what was like the second biggest blowout? Would you say?
I mean, everything else was
closer.
Yeah, there were always some like, ooh, it's getting, we got to really count. There were some that were really like, ooh, it's a showdown. And unfortunately, the rules of our group are such that we do not list our runners up. So I don't feel comfortable saying, oh, this one, I don't know, best cinematography, but something else was right on its heels. I can't really say that. But you can ask me about certain things, and I can, like in All the President's Men.
Who else was in the mix for like supporting actress? Because I don't think anyone who was predicting these winners had Carol Kane.
Yeah, well, that. I'm trying to remember now. Speaking hypothetically, names like. Yeah, I can say some of the films with people that were in them. There was A Complete Unknown has 2 great supporting actresses.
It's true.
And they were in the mix. And His Three Daughters has 3 great supporting actresses, and they were in the mix. So those are 5 people from 2 movies canceling each other out like crazy. Now, if you're asking me personally, I happen to love both of those films. And I think that all 3 of the 3 daughters are fantastic. I love His Three Daughters, her 3, whatever the hell the movie's called.
It's His Three Daughters.
His 3 daughters.
You love it so much, you know the name.
His Three Daughters is a marvelous, marvelous film. And all 3 of them, whenever they have the ball, you're like, what a performance. All of them are great. Personally, I have a love, like many do. I mean, Natasha Lyonne is what, like, I've never met her, but I feel close to her in my heart. So if I had to anoint one of the 3 daughters as the winner, that would be my choice. But I could totally understand one of the other 2 as being the best. They're all really, really good. Although, look, Lyonne has that one scene, if you've seen His Three Daughters, when she goes to talk to her dad, and it's just the shot is on the door jamb. It's out of focus. You don't even see her face. I don't know. It's just a great moment in that film. So I personally love Natasha Lyonne. Similarly, A Complete Unknown has got 2 great supporting actresses in Elle Fanning and Monica Barbaro.
So maybe that's why that could be also why she didn't win.
Who's on the TV show? No.
You wrote the wrong name.
No, you just write, you do the initials. By the way, she's really good in the world's dumbest television show. She was on a show called FUBAR with the former governor of California, Arnold Schwarzenegger, on Netflix, which cost $1 billion. And I don't know how many people ever watched FUBAR, but it's actually pretty good. I was never going to watch FUBAR because I'm an intellectual and I don't watch crap like that. But I was assigned that by an editor. Will you watch FUBAR and write about it? And I'm like, Christ, I need to eat this month. Okay. And I watched FUBAR and I loved it. And she's a doll. I think she's great. And I didn't even know she was in A Complete Unknown playing Joan Baez. And she's fantastic. She's a commanding presence.
Great voice.
She can sing maybe not as well as Joan Baez. Nobody can sing as well as her, but like she can do a Joan Baez, and may I be bold, quite a beautiful woman too. I mean, just, I gotta say, just a gorgeous, gorgeous woman. So, I loved Monica B. Barbaro, I don't know her name. I thought she was fabulous, and she would certainly be high on my ballot. But Elle Fanning's in the movie too, and she's great. She's got all those scenes where she's crying in the audience going, oh, no way I'm holding on to this guy.
I mean, she was great in her final scene in the film.
Yeah, she gets on that boat.
Mm-hmm. Well, I noticed you did not mention one film that is fielding multiple supporting actress contenders.
Oh, what's
Emilia
that?
Perez.
That was not as big of a player in our group.
Interesting.
I don't want to get into too many specifics, but that wasn't as big of a player.
I'll give you another supporting actress then, Jordan, if I could. Along the same lines, another musical, Wicked, Ariana Grande. Now I was like, oh, you guys love a pop star, maybe Lady Gaga winning for House of Gucci a couple of years ago. I know you were a big fan of that performance, and she won Best Actress for New York Film Critics Circle.
got her to the
fantastic.
dinner.
Ariana Grande, was there a...
That was a highlight. She was so much fun. More than Amelia Paris. People were talking about people were talking about Wicked for sure, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. But I will say, before I get myself into trouble, Lady Gaga, who did come to our dinner X amount of years ago, and obviously she was seated front and center. She was very involved in, people come up and they give their speeches and whatnot. And some of the other, some of the people who come, they come for their thing. They kind of mosey to the back, they're sort of less involved than others. She was like, for however long the dinner can last, because sometimes it can feel like it lasts a long time. She was in it. She was engaged with every speaker. She was applauding. She was doing the kissy face. She was laughing. She was kind of talking back because she knew some of the people. She was having a blast. She was someone who, and there are no cameras on her. She wasn't doing this for show. She was doing this because she was really enjoying her night.
Incredible. I do have a question about, one of Film Twitter's favorite topics, category fraud and placement. So is that something you guys discuss, like moving somebody like a co-lead, like Kieran Culkin?
Yeah.
Because last year your LA counterparts, they caused a kerfuffle by putting Lily Gladstone in supporting.
Yes, they did do that. It does come up. And there are times where, you're allowed to vote for whatever you want. So long as it came out that year, you can vote for it. And sometimes there are films that get a mini release the year before. They're in a theater for 15 minutes, and technically they're that year. But this year, and I don't want to say which one, but there was a foreign language film that really killed it this year. And many people said that, that's this year, right? And people are like, nah, technically that came out last year. We can't vote for it. And I was like, oh, crap. And I don't want to say which one. I don't want to, but so that does come up in terms of like what's eligible. But in terms of the whether it's lead, I think it hasn't, let's put it this way. It hasn't been a situation where it's gotten to the win. So we haven't, in my recollection, we haven't had to have that sort of, gee, they're pushing, like we mentioned Natasha Lyonne before. Is she the lead? Or they're all three supporting? It's never gotten to the point where it's like, where do you put them? And we have to figure it out. One thing that we do, and I think other groups do this as well, and it's happened in our, in my time, is we'll vote for someone, just the name. And if they're in more than one movie, we then figure out whether to award them for more than one. And it's definitely happened. I'd have to look back at I remember, what's her name?
You did Colin Farrell 2 years ago for After Yang and
That's
Banshees.
Right. That's exactly right. That's one. And I think people wrote Colin Farrell down, and Banshees of Inisherin is obviously the bigger film, but it's like, well, and it was like, oh, are we also awarding him for After Yang? And then we take an up or down vote. One year we did Isabelle Huppert, and she was in, we did that for two movies. It was Elle, and oh God, I can't remember the name of it now. It was a very French movie. It was quite good. It was a movie where she's like, I don't know, she's doing her thing. She's Isabelle Huppert. Oh God, I don't remember what it was called. And it had like a kind of a boring name, like Things to Come, but it wasn't called Things to Come. It was a great movie. So then we added that as well. And then there was she happened to have been in 3 movies that year. She was in a movie with Gerard Depardieu where the ghost of their dead son comes back to visit them. Also a pretty good movie. And it's like, well, do we throw that in there too? And I was like, nah, let's just keep it there too.
You did that didn't you do that for Jessica Chastain for her big 2011? Like her 3 films?
Did we? That may have been before I was in the group.
Then it doesn't count. If it was before Jordan was in it doesn't count.
Yeah, I think I was not in the group that year.
And we only care about his tenure.
Right. But I actually think that's a cool thing, because we then have to decide, do we, Timothy Chalamet did not win this year, But if he did, it would be like, is it for A Complete Unknown and Dune Part 2? You know, it's a question. I think that for other groups, maybe the fact that someone like Timothée Chalamet is in 2 movies might be a detriment, because you're like, oh, he's so great. Do I vote for him in this or that? But for groups that just vote who is the best actor of the year, and you say Timothée Chalamet, and then afterwards you say which movies, it may be a benefit, because you're like, wow, he had a great year. Like the After Yang Banshees of Inisherin. Like, I think that may have helped people. It's like, he wasn't just great in Banshees, he was great in After Yang too. So let's give Colin Farrell the double award.
What were you going to say, Chris?
No, I was going to say before the voting took place, there was rumors online that maybe Nicholas Hoult would be the benefit of this year, right? Because he had The Order, and he has Juror Number 2, and then Nosferatu.
Yeah, he's got a triple. He does have a triple. That's right. Yeah, I mean, he like during those early rounds, there are a lot of names that get thrown in. But then also some movies that are not necessarily in the mix for wider awards, because we are the New York Film Critics Circle, so we're a little snooty. For example, a lot of the movies that are in the mix and ultimately win for our foreign language, they're oftentimes in the mix for a lot of other awards. They don't always make it to the top. So, and like smaller documentaries can also be in the mix for other things. And in fact, a few years ago, we gave our top prize to Drive My Car, which is a Japanese language film that also was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. So it maybe that helped kick that along, because I think a lot of people, when they saw the New York Film Critics Circle gave the best prize to Drive My Car, maybe it was like, oh, what is this? What is this thing? So, maybe that's a positive spin for that.
Hmm. Yeah. Can you say like what category took the most rounds?
This year, I don't really remember. When you go into these things, you kind of enter a fugue state, because it is a little boring. You're just kind of sitting there and, listening to people read the thing. But I will say, even though, there only were a handful of movies that got mentioned that won any awards, there are a lot of things in the mix, so if there's someone listening who's like, oh, my favorite didn't even get anything, it was probably in the mix. If it's something that's being talked about, if it's on one of the leaderboards at Gold Derby, it was probably in the mix. But then also, like I said, some of the movies that, because we are the New York group, there were a lot of foreign language movies in the mix for all the categories, as there usually are. Don't always make it to the top, but ones that are not on the Gold Derby leaderboard, that had they won, people would have been scratching their heads, which I imagine they did during the Drive My Car year. I imagine a lot of your peeps were like, where the heck did this one come from?
Well, before we wrap up with we have a fun game for you. Is there anything else you want to add about this year's vote, or anything you want to tease? Well,
like I say, we're not really supposed to mention who were officially runners up. So all those names I gave before were hypothetical. That was not realistic.
It was Leonard Nimoy, obviously.
Yeah. I was trying to be hypothetical about it. But I will say that, as a general, people wonder, this is something I get asked. There are two things. One thing I saw online was, we announced the best director and the best film, and they were like opposite. And people were like, oh, I just want to say, don't be so sure, people online, how it works. The order in which things are announced are not necessarily the order in which things are voted for. Let's just say that. That's not a big deal to just think. But just like people think like what had to happen this way? It's like, how do you know? You weren't there.
Also, why do they have to match?
Exactly. Yeah. And then the other thing is, people wonder, is there like a lot of yelling? It's like, no, that is absolutely not. There's a lot of joking. There's a lot of boredom. There's a lot of tedium. That's the baseline, is just boredom.
What are you doing when the calculators and abacuses are out and they're counting the votes?
Absolutely nothing. Some people are working. Some people have their laptops on. They're working. Some people are reading the paper. And some people are just chit-chatting. You sit next to somebody you like and you catch up with them and you schmooze a little bit, quietly, you try not to talk too much. And then like in between, there's a lot of joking. There are some people in the room that are big characters. There's one or two guys, who in the room who, always have something to say. And sometimes they can be a little, aggressive, but that hasn't happened in a while. But as far as like shouting down, once in a while there is somebody who says something and somebody else says, "Oh, can it?" But it's kind of in a pleasant, fun way. But there have been, I think literally the phrase "Oh, can it" has been used one time in my presence, which I adored. It was fantastic. But as a general rule, it's a lot of joking around. When we have a lot of fun people in the room. Richard Brody from The New Yorker is like the funniest dude. So people like, somebody's phone is ringing. Richard Brody from The New Yorker, who, if people don't know, he is a delightful, jovial man with like, he looks like a Greek Orthodox priest. He has like the world's longest beard and wears a black coat, and he has beautiful blue eyes also. He's a gorgeous man. And everybody kind of loves yapping with him because he's so funny. And so there's a lot of joking around with him. Also, we have some legends in the room. We have Amy Taubin is a New York City legend who, she is 86 years of age, I believe. I just looked this up. And, she's a former Warhol superstar and just an amazing talent. And I know personally, and some of my colleagues, like, we just feel honored to be in the room with her sometimes. So there's a lot of like, quiet, Amy is speaking, and like whatever she says, people are like, right on. And, we kind of, I know I personally like to like bounce things off her sometimes because I want to get her opinion, because she's incredibly opinionated and she does not give a F about anything because she's done it all. She's seen it all. She's 86 and she's the coolest person you'll ever meet. So she will give her opinion, and it's great. So it's fun when she's in the room. And, so it's by and large, it's a group of people who either like one another or tolerate one another. I mean, not everybody's got to be best friends, but there's no fighting.
Your work friends. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes if there's a movie, personally, I could say, like, if there's something that's doing well that I don't care for, I might go, come on. I might sigh a little bit. Like, really?
But
that's your pick?
It's fine. You move on. It's fine.
Ultimately, who cares? I'm not winning the award.
It is so low stakes for all of us.
Yeah, I'm not Adrian Brody. What do I care? Adrian Brody wins another trophy. He's already got a bunch of trophies. Good for him. Incredibly talented guy. Very good in The Brutalist. God bless. He won another prize. I'm happy we gave it to him. By this time next year, I'll have to be like, Brody won. Yeah, Adrian Brody. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to wrap up with our new game. So you're our guinea pig.
Yeah.
As you know, we're a magnet. It's in our name.
Yes.
So this segment is called Forces of Attraction.
Yes.
So we're going to find out things that you're drawn to and repelled by. So we have 5 questions here.
Yes.
First one. What movie are you drawn to? It doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite thing, I think it shouldn't be your favorite thing, but just something that you find yourself liking and you don't think about,
What movie, kind of movie, or a specific title? Or like this year's movie?
And any movie from your lifetime, but even before your lifetime, any movie that you're drawn to.
Well, like when I was 14, I watched Monty Python and the Holy Grail 700,000 times. So I haven't watched it. As you should. I haven't watched it lately, but when I was 14, I thought it was the funniest and most philosophical thing anyone could ever put to film. Would I feel that way now? I don't know. I also liked Airplane a lot, and I liked Woody Allen's Sleeper. I thought that was really funny too. So I guess when I was a young lad, those are the things that really drew me in. This year, movies that make you think. Like The Brutalist is really good, and there's like a lot to chew on. What is it really saying about X, Y, and Z? Its performances are really good. I think The Brutalist, which won our top prize this year, is a really damn good movie. I also think A Complete Unknown is just, I can't wait to watch that again. Nosferatu, I can't wait to watch that again. It was just so cool. The cinematography is amazing. The performances are great. So those are my answers.
Good choices. Number 2, what TV show are you drawn to? Fubar?
Well, when I was a kid, I watched a lot of Monty Python's Flying Circus.
Just Monty Python.
When I was 14, I would tape that off of Channel 13 and watch it over and over again. No, lately TV shows, gosh, to be honest, I don't do a lot of the big binge shows that like everybody loves because I'm working on other things. So like I haven't seen The Crown or any of that stuff. I'm sure The Crown is great, and Queen's Gambit and all that. I haven't actually seen those. And then I do sometimes watch the prestige televisions and shows when I'm assigned them to write about them. So I did watch Shogun, and I watched The Three Body Problem, and I just watched 100 Years of Solitude, which comes out in like a couple of days. And it's getting no promotion in the US because it's a Spanish language adaptation of the book, but is really good, actually. 100 Years of Solitude. I mean, the book is a masterpiece. The show is about as good as it can be. It's hard to adapt that book for reasons that are too involved to get into. But what am I drawn to? I will give you the funny answer. When I'm really zonked and just cannot think, I'm too tired to do anything, too tired to read, just have to sit on the couch. My wife and I lately have been watching a show called Gardener's World. And Gardener's World is a BBC production that's been around since the late 60s, and they've had different hosts over the years. It's on Amazon Prime, and the seasons that are on Amazon Prime are relatively recent. They're from like 2015 and more current. And it's just about this dude who gardens, and he's got his friend, he's got a dog with him, and he's so British, and he's like, oh, let's have a cup of tea and look at the zinnias. And his name is Monty Don.
I thought you were going to say Monty Python.
No, his name is exactly. His name is like anything with Monty in it. Monty Don. If there are British people listening, they're like going, they're doing somersaults right now because they're like, oh, my nan loves Monty Don. You know, it's just the most calming show, and
it's your ASMR.
It's my ASMR. We discovered it recently, and my wife does garden. I don't garden. I don't get dirt on. I don't know how to garden. I like to look at flowers for sure. I like to eat tomatoes, but I don't garden. But this guy, Monty Don, and he has this beautiful dog. He travels around. Come along, Nigel. And he and Nigel go to the garden and they look at zinnias and rhododendrons. And it's the most charming show you'll ever see. It's called Gardener's World. I'm sure if you get one of those like BritBox or something, they probably have years worth of stuff, but there's some of it is on Amazon Prime. Big fan of Gardener's World.
Its streams are going to pop now after this. So, number 3, what song are you drawn to? What was on your Spotify Wrapped?
My Spotify Wrapped number 1 song was this band Krungbin, which is an impossible word, but they're KHRU. It's a Thai word, but they're not from Thailand, this band. And Krungbin are like, if you ever invited to an event at a hotel in Beverly Hills or in Chelsea in New York that's like really stylish, and you're like, holy crap, I can't even afford a bottle of water in this hotel. It's so cool. They're the music playing. It's very stylish, and some of their music has been used in films. Krungbin is a bit of a cult fave, but they have a posse. I mean, they've sold out Hollywood Bowl and Radio City Music Hall. They're sort of an instrumental jam band, but they're very hip, and they were my number 1 song this year.
Interesting.
When I'm working during the day, I tend to play classical music just because it's a good thing to listen to. You know, Johann Sebastian Bach.
Calming, yeah.
C.P.E. Bach. He was a Nepo baby. J.C. Bach, the other son. You know, it's funny. C.P.E. Bach was a Nepo baby, but not quite as much. In their lifetimes, C.P.E. Bach, I only learned this recently, he was the bigger star. So Johann Sebastian Bach was the Robert Downey Sr. of the Bachs. He was not as famous at the time. It was after they all died that Johann Sebastian Bach became King Bach. CPE
if only they made a senior doc back then.
Yeah, exactly. Where's the Bach story? Bach story, that's funny. All right.
Yeah. Number 4, what food are you drawn to?
I like Takis. I like the Fuego flavor Takis. They're so bad for me. They are murdering my insides. But you can't eat them when you work because they make your fingers a mess. So I have a friend, my great friend, the noted author, John DeVore, suggested to me in jest that I eat my Takis with chopsticks. And I have been doing that lately. And he said it to me like, everybody eats Takis with chopsticks. And then I said, oh, I started doing it. He's like, you idiot. I was just joking with you. But, yeah. I try to, I can't go a week without those Fuego flavored Takis. It's really bad.
I eat a lot of things with chopsticks just because I don't like getting my hands dirty.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's wise. That's wise.
it.
Do you like fuego flavored Takis?
I love anything spicy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So give it to me.
But these are so chemical, and that you can they're so bad for you. They've got to be just riddled in all the wrong kinds of fats and the chemicals. I really should
How are
not
you alive?
I don't know. This is a good question. I really shouldn't be eating so many Takis. They're bad for you.
And finally, what is one thing you're repelled by? It can be anything.
The way I feel after eating Takis. I'm disgusted. My stomach hurts. Mentally, I feel like ashamed. Now, what am I repelled by? I don't like snakes. I don't like snakes, and I don't understand. I don't like spiders. I don't understand people who keep tarantulas as a pet. I think they're gross. There's a friend of mine and Chris's, a young woman by the name of Emma Stefanski, who writes a lot about bugs, and she's a friend of mine, and I think she's great, and I like spending time with her. But I think her and she writes about bugs. Her love of bugs is repulsive, and by extension, I guess to a certain degree, she is repulsive. But I would never tell her that.
Not to her face. You can do it here. So
do it on this podcast. Yeah. No, she's lovely. I'm kidding. She's a great gal.
Well, Jordan, it was such a blast to have you as our first guest, first Awards Magnet guest.
It was
officially
great.
Friend of the pod. Thank you so much.
I'm happy to be here, Joyce. And Chris, when he comes out of the neutral zone where he's battling Romulans and can barely... He's like those scenes in Star Trek when they're like, we're taking hits, and the cameras... His internet is so bad. Chris, you work for Awards Magnet. You need blazing hot internet connection, and you're like
he's not
Jordan,
magnetized. He's not probably magnetized today.
He's like I was
wondering what if it's the drones.
Yeah, that's right. Have you heard about this, Joyce? There are drones over northern New Jersey. Chris lives in northern New Jersey. That explains
a lot.
And there's been like people have been seeing UFOs and stuff. And I'm not joking. Google New Jersey drones, northern Jersey. Right now in early December, there've been a lot of them. It's pretty freaky.
What's Phil Murphy doing? I don't know. Got to get a bottom of it. Well, Jordan, tell the people where they can find you, because I would say you are a value follow on Twitter.
Well, I'm trying to get off of X, formerly known as Twitter.
Are you going to Blue Sky?
I am on Blue Sky. I was on Blue Sky for a while, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then, I don't want to get too political. I'm a proud sort of a middle of the road kind of. I love everybody. I try not to make waves, but I do think that Elon Musk, X, that the world there is kind of gross. And what's funny about X, and I'll tell you this, if you're on it every day, you don't notice it. If you close out of X and then don't come back to it for 24 hours or so, the tab, the For You tab and your notifications are just disgusting. They're like, not even
For You is unhinged completely.
But they even say like, a tweet from so and so, and it's like, this cat turd. I'm embarrassed that I even know what cat turd is. And it's like, I don't follow cat turd. I don't follow anybody who follows cat turd. Why is he in my notifications? Because he had a hit tweet. And that's like, listen, if it was a politician who was someone I disagreed with, I could at least understand that. This person is a senator, governor, whomever. Maybe I don't want to hear from him, or her. But there they are in my mentions. Fine. There's a cat turd. I don't want a cat turd in my goddamn mentions. So I've been trying to get off the X, but I am on X as Jay Hoffman. I'm on Blue Sky at Jay Hoffman. I write for a number of outlets that you can read. And I do like to be part of the New York Film Critics Circle. I really shouldn't have mentioned probably as much as what I did behind the scenes, but the way we vote is written on our website. So that's not.
Listen, no one will know. No one will know. So it's fine.
What I'm going to ask you and your editor to do, I'm going to record this phrase cleanly, and then what you can do is stitch it on before I start naming names. Okay, here we go. On 3, 2, 1. Hypothetically speaking, I'll do it one more time. On 3, 2, 1. Speaking hypothetically, names like. And to the person who's editing this together, you just drop those in wherever, and that would be pretty cool for me.
We love the ADR on top.
Yeah.
So that we don't need it to be smooth. So, well, Jordan, thanks once again. We'll love to have you back soon, maybe later this season, just to shoot the shit about the Oscars.
Yeah. I mean, when we start getting there, you know what I love about the awards race, so to speak, is movies that are not really on the radar right now that might be by the time we get to the Oscars. For example, September 5 is a movie that I do think could potentially do very well, because a lot of the Oscar voters are a little older, and that movie is catnip for an older audience. And it's also really good.
They probably lived through the hostage crisis in 1972. Yeah,
they remember it. They remember watching the Olympics and be like,
they watched the 22-hour coverage.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and it's also really quite good. I mean, he's deserving of its praise. So I think that's one that maybe could step up. A Different Man, I mean, a weird movie, but I loved it. Maybe that moves on. Carol Kane in Between the Temples. Unlikely. I think our award will be the Alpha and Omega. And obviously, I love her. We voted for her. Carol Kane is wonderful. I mean, everything she's in, from Taxi to Kimmy Schmidt to Hester Street. But who knows? Maybe we'll get some more Carol Kane action between now and the end of the year.
Well, we'll see you back here sometime in 2025 then.
Sounds good.
Let's do this.
Good.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to Awards Magnet. The show is produced by Aaron Greenwald. Our logo is designed by Chelsea Sikora. To be part of the show, email us at slugfests@goldderby.com and follow us on social media @goldderby.